Yeah, sure, that'll be fun.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
Look at that teamwork.
Hey, Jack Harlow.
Yeah, so this is a story about my grandfather. I was thinking about him earlier this week. And this is one of my favorite stories about him. So I grew up in northern Manitoba, if you couldn't tell by my fashion choices tonight. I'm not sure if you guys know where to buy clothes that aren't affiliated with denim, flannel, or hockey teams, but I'm new to St. Louis, so that'd be much appreciated. You can tell me. But yeah, northern Manitoba, it's a little bit more wilderness involved than around here, so you have to be a little bit more careful with where you walk around. And one of the things that you have to be more careful is that when you're in elementary school, you have to take a semester-long class on bear safety, because there's so many goddamn bears in Canada. It's taught by the RCMP, or the Mounties, as you guys might know. And so you have to all huddle in the gymnasium, and in walks this Mountie, and he'll tell you about what to do with different types of bears. I remember I was 7 years old, and he came in there, and he was talking about, all right, so there's 3 different types of bears you have to worry about in Canada. Black bears, grizzly bears, and polar bears. Now, black bears are basically like giant raccoons, so if one comes charging at you, you gotta flex up. You gotta do one of those. You gotta make a lot of noise and run away. If a grizzly bear comes up to you, you just play dead. Grizzly bear is only gonna attack you if it thinks you're a threat. So you just lay down, play dead, it'll knock you around a little bit and go. And then he said this to a room full of 7-year-olds, and if you see a polar bear, you pray. Make peace with whatever God you have, because they're not saving you. So needless to say, I now have a bear fear. I am terrified of bears. So when I was growing up as a little kid, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. Both my parents worked. So whenever I was off of school, I spent most of the time with him. My grandfather was a real manly man. You know, he was your typical Canadian wild guy, lived out in the woods, built canoes at a birch bark, taught me how to fish and hunt and all that stuff. So I couldn't tell about my bear fear because I didn't want him to think I was a bitch. I don't know why I thought being terrified of bears was somehow like a thing to be ashamed about. But I remember I would have nightmares about being attacked by bears. And one time I had a nightmare so bad that I wet myself. And I hid the evidence. Couldn't let anybody know about that because they tell my grandfather. Well, one day, we had to go to the dump because my grandfather lived unincorporated in town. So we had to drive out to go deliver the garbage. And once you get to the dump, black bears surround your truck because they're waiting for the garbage. So they'll just wait for you. And my grandfather was like, all right, Jack, you stay in the truck. There's cubs around. If something happens, no one may happen to you. So he hops out. And he started throwing out the garbage. And sure enough, a mama black bear starts charging him. And he does exactly what you're supposed to do. He digs his heels in, and he flexes up on black bear. Black bear skids out and runs away. And I said, wow, Grandpa, that was terrifying. How do you do that without pissing yourself? And then he turns around, and he says, see, the thing is, Jack, and I noticed a huge wet spot on the front of his pants. And he says, you don't. That's when I realized it doesn't matter how manly you are. Black bears are still terrifying. So anyway, that's all I kind of wanted to say tonight, guys. You've been a great audience. Thank you for having me.